Hello, this is Colin Liddell, and this is the Shortpod, a brief and succinct podcast commenting on the events and issues of the day. And the date is the 16th of January 2022. Today I'm going to talk about normie British politics and the possibility that Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson will be forced out in the near future because of the scandals surrounding his government due to having parties in the midst of the lockdown. This is a story that refuses to die. New revelations keep being leaked. The BBC keep reheating this story, and the rest of the media keep following along and pushing this story that Boris Johnson is basically worse than Genghis Khan because during the lockdown, some people in the government had drinkies and parties and so on. For those of us in the dissident right, this is very much a kind of popcorn moment. One of those things where you can sit back and just enjoy the spectacle, because we don't really care whether Boris Johnson survives or not, to be honest. But it does have some sort of academic interest. And one of the things I've noticed, which I think is probably worth sharing, is that Boris Johnson's position is a lot stronger than people realise. And this is due to the kind of sheer political cunning of the man, because whatever you want to say about Boris Johnson, bumbling buffoon or whatever his public image is, he's actually quite a deft political operator. Now, as leader of the Conservative Party, the main threat to Boris Johnson probably doesn't come from the Labour Party. The Labour Party, even though it's doing very well in the opinion polls, come a national election, a lot of people are going to be quite reluctant to vote for them again. And, the Tories should, on a normal day, be able to quite comfortably beat Labour into second place. So the Labour Party is not really the main threat to Boris Johnson, nor are the minor parties. UKIP, the Liberal Democrats, various micro-nationalist parties, all of those political elements have no chance really of touching Boris Johnson. So that means the real threat to Boris Johnson is actually the Conservative Party. And Bojo has apparently been very, very aware of that and has taken a lot of time and trouble to defend his position from that direction. How so, you may well ask? Well, if you look at political history of the Conservatives in power, you'll notice that there is sometimes a change of leadership. In 2019, Boris Johnson himself replaced Theresa May. In 2016, Theresa May replaced David Cameron. In 1990, John Major replaced Margaret Thatcher. And if we throw Labour into the mix and look at other examples where a sit-in leader is replaced by a member of his own party, we can say that Gordon Brown replaced Tony Blair in 2007, and James Callaghan replaced Harold Wilson in 1974. And if you keep going back and you look at all these examples of a sit-in Prime Minister being replaced by a member of his own party, there's a very, very clear pattern. And that clear pattern is this. A Prime Minister in power can only be replaced by a member of his own party as leader if that challenger has previously occupied one of three positions in the government. These three positions are Home Secretary, Chancellor, and Foreign Secretary. Now, when a party is out of power, it's a lot easier for somebody from the back benches or from out of the blue to rise up and challenge the failed leader. But in government, that's a lot less likely. So the challenger has to have a lot of status, and that kind of status can only come from political experience at the higher levels of government. Now, what Boris Johnson has very, very cleverly done, he has filled those positions from which such a challenge can come with non-white politicians by and large. For example, soon after Boris Johnson became Prime Minister, he appointed Priti Patel as Home Secretary. I think he also appointed Savid Javid as Chancellor, and when there was a problem with Savid Javid, he then put Rishi Sunak in the job. So the positions of Home Secretary and Chancellor have been held by Indians, or in the case of Savid, a Pakistani. The Foreign Secretary position is held by Liz Truss. She's a British woman. I think she's about 45 years old. She's been fast-tracked a bit, obviously, and she's not really seen as a major figure in the Conservative Party yet. Effectively, she still has to prove herself. So, of the three positions from which a significant leadership challenge can come, two of them are held by Indians, and the other one is held by an inexperienced woman. And this places the Conservative grassroots rank and file in an awkward position, because if they decide to get rid of Boris, they are going to throw things open to one of those three. And I think that most Conservative Party members don't really want to see an Indian become Prime Minister. So this would make them think twice about getting rid of Boris. I don't think too many of them want to be that race cocky to support an Indian Prime Minister, but also they would feel awkward not to support Rishi Sunak or Priti Patel if Boris Johnson was deposed, because to not support either one of those kind of obvious successor position candidates would also make them feel a bit racist. So they're kind of caught on the horns of a dilemma between being racist or race cocky. As for Liz Truss, they might go for her, but then again, a lot of the Conservative rank and file wouldn't really want to see this relatively inexperienced woman step up and take over, not after the experience they had with Theresa May quite recently. So I think that Boris's position is not really as weak and unstable as his critics might hope. And I would predict that unless something much more serious happened to push him out, that Boris will probably stay in his position until the next election. Over and out.